All right. So, first of all, how's everybody doing?
What?
Good.
You're always smiling. You're always good. Cool. Lindsay, you said you're doing good?
Yes.
How was it getting up real bright and early and then still doing things here late at night? Derek, how about you?
Doing good. Just
Yeah,
got done with work. Just winding down.
I like the haircut, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Makes
it
you
looks
look
nice.
Got it from a farmland person, so hopefully it's good.
Yeah, Catherine does a nice job. Well, Derek, I know now, and do you remember how many of these goal-setting monthly webinars you've been on?
I think I went through 4 on my first kind of goal last year. 3 or 4.
Lindsay, this is your third one?
Yes, this is my third.
Yeah, awesome. Yuri, first time joining us?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'll let you know right now, goal setting and that, right, it can kind of be confusing. It can be time structure and that early on, but it's probably one of the most powerful processes for people that, right, maybe are in competitive athletics or performance-based training. I'm sure you guys know that probably some of the best business people in this world have quarterly goals, yearly goals, long-term goals, and because of that, they're able to achieve more. So I say that, like, right, people who are very good at effective goal setting do really well. And what I'd like to hear from you guys, and I want to take some time to listen, is just kind of understand either, where you're at, what you're looking to get out of this, and maybe two, if you do have a goal or goals. So you were the first one on. Let's just start with you.
My goals with fitness-wise, just to feel better, have more energy, and maybe 2019, I will be able to reach about lose about 10 more pounds, and that's about it.
Okay. Lindsay, where are we at with your process? Bring me up to speed.
So this is going to be my third month, and I've done really well with the high protein meals. And last week, I sat through a seminar with Taylor, the food seminar. I went through something in my life that kind of threw me a curveball, and I stopped charting my food. And so I was talking to her, and we were talking about getting back on charting and seeing where I was at. So each day I've been pretty good with hitting my calorie intake, doing a lot better than I thought I was. So
Okay, so going back then to what maybe you'd originally said, are we still then talking about a similar goal as before?
yes.
Or is it, and that
Body
is,
loss. Yep, body fat loss.
and what is again that outcome? Remember, we talked about an exact outcome. What is that?
That is going to be to reduce my body fat mass by 66.
66 what?
Pounds.
And again, we're still staying consistent with that then?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so Yuri had a few choices there to talk about. Lindsay's still on reducing body fat with an exact poundage of 66 pounds. All right, Derek, share with me what's up, what's going on?
Well, so my last goal was the body fat percentage getting down to the average for my age and everything like that. So below 20, around 15. So did all that within the last mesocycle. Last time we measured out right before Christmas. So kind of moving on from that. Now I want to get more performance-based kind of goal. So I was going to more lean towards improving the snatch and kind of go for like maybe a 15% increase kind of from where my last numbers were from the previous mesocycles.
Okay.
Kind of where I was aiming after.
First of all, man, congrats on your first goal. Awesome, dude. Seriously,
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome, awesome. Can you maybe just share with us, and could you remind me, where did you start with your body fat percentage, and then what did you hit here at the end of this last mesocycle?
So I started at about 30% when I weighed in, and now I'm down to about 16 sitting at currently with a couple mesocycles.
That's outstanding, my man. Holy cow. You basically cut your body fat percentage in half.
Yep.
Yeah, man. What did you just celebrate that? What did you do to kind of like express some gratitude towards yourself?
I got different macros, and now I get to eat more carbs.
Have you went out and done anything to like kind of like, man, just celebrate, have fun with that?
Not too much. No, it was just kind of a goal that I wanted to do for myself, so got to that and kind of just moved on to the next one.
Dude, just already working on the next one. Okay, I'm gonna unmute Aaron and mute you, Derek, if you don't mind. Aaron, how you doing? How'd it feel, that workout?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing just fine. So why don't you kind of bring me up to speed here, and just like, I know this was Yuri's first call with us. What is kind of the overall aspect in terms of, yes, what are you looking to get out of this? What are you looking to do maybe goal-wise?
Goal-wise, I want to get my body fat down. I need to actually measure it to see where I'm at right now because it's been a little while.
Okay.
And then I want to just improve weight rise on my snatch, front squat, and back squat. And nutrition-wise, I've been kind of on point, and I just want to stay there.
Okay, so consistency in nutrition.
Yes.
Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for you, Aaron. Going back to Yuri, you at the top. There's 1, 2, 3 there that you had mentioned. Lindsay, still talking about body fat reduction in terms of overall body fat mass. And then Derek talking about one exact movement here with a performance increase of 15%. Okay, so cool. Let me just make sure that here too I can. Okay. So guys, in your case, Yuri, and in your case, Aaron, what I usually like to make sure people understand is that what we're going to really have you guys agree on, and I can help you with this if need be, but we're going to agree on a meaningful outcome-based goal. What that simply is that, Yuri, you actually kind of had just almost mentioned this here in your third part, was that you said you'd like to lose 10 pounds. That is very much a meaningful outcome goal. In other words, you're settling upon an endpoint, and it's an exact endpoint. It's not that, hey, I would like to lose some weight. Hey, I actually want to lose 10 pounds. You have an exact number in mind. So that could simply be the goal that you work with today. Again, if you want to work with that one meaningful outcome, you had talked about feeling better. If that is a goal that you want to work with today, what we got to then figure out is, again, kind of a meaningful outcome for that. In other words, something exact in which you can measure. So Aaron, I'll talk to you about that as well. Like, right, if there is a body fat percentage that, yes, you want to work with, and yet you have not done, let's say, an in-body measurement here recently, something to start with which like Derek had done here before the last mesocycle of training, and then got remeasured at the end of the mesocycle. Now we can start to work with, again, the exact numbers for you, if that's the goal you want to work on. The reason for that, and the reason why that's important, is that allows you guys then to turn really that whole overall goal. You can start working with some actions underneath it, some very exact actions. Okay. So far, does that make sense? Seen some head shake. Aaron, I know you're kind of in the dark area there, but does that make sense? Good. I'm going to unmute you guys here so you guys can talk here as well. Okay. So the other thing that we can talk about here before we start getting into the process then too is, like, right, we want to be able to, whatever skills that we decide to work on, we want to break those guys into behaviors. In other words, if, right, somebody, and let's say, Yuri, I'll use you again as an example here, right, you talked about feeling better. What are some actions that you can do to help yourself feel better morning, day, and night? And I'll just give you one example right there, and that is maybe shopping for fresh foods. Right? Is that an action? Yes, it is. Is it kind of like a skill that you can acquire and do every time that you go to the grocery store or shopping? It certainly is. Right? You can condition yourself to shop for fresh food. Think of maybe, Yuri, another example, another behavior that will help you, yes, feel better.
Mm, just listen to some music.
Sure. Yeah. Music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether that's heavy death metal and that makes you feel better, or maybe it's like, right, maybe it's more of a relaxation music at the end of the day.
Or
Yeah.
take back.
What was that?
Take back.
Heck yeah. Heck
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, cool. So you're kind of on that that understanding. These are actions I can do to make myself feel better. Aaron, let me ask you, because again, I'm kind of working with you two here first, because I put Lindsay and Derek on the spot here sometimes before. To reduce body fat percentage, what are some behaviors that yes you can work on and work with that'll help you do that? And I'm not saying ones you have to do, just think overall spectrum. What are we know as behaviors that help people reduce body fat?
For me, it's been lower carbs and then just being consistent with workouts.
Okay, so consistency in physical activity.
Yes.
Yeah, that would definitely be behavior. How about proper water intake?
Yes.
Definitely. Okay, cool. How about two, even further on? This kind of goes alongside with Yuri's, is maybe even two, just developing your overall food list for each and every week. Yeah. I mean, I know that that's actually a behavior that not a lot of people do. I ask people about that. What is your overall weekly shopping list? Like, what are these things that you always get to make sure that you have throughout each and every day of the week to make sure you're hitting your macros? Yeah, I do that. I ask people, and not a lot of people do that. I know at home we actually have on our refrigerator we have our grocery list, that things that we want, but then there's this list of things that are there for both Brooklyn, myself, and the girls to make sure that they are getting what they need to be getting. Obviously, we don't tell the girls macro-wise what they need to be eating, but there are things that I need to have throughout the week, each and every week, to make sure that I can hit my caloric intake. Eating 3,700 calories a day does take a little bit of effort.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, also to understand this in with guys' ideal behavior goals, they should be clear. They should be simple and straightforward. They should be very specific. They should be concrete, very doable and realistic, and actually relatively easy to do. So I'll say those again. Again, these ideal behavior goals. And again, these are the things that you're going to be doing each and every day, hours of the day, to help your overall outcome goal. These ideal behavior goals, they should be clear. They should be very simple and straightforward. Aaron, I hope you're not writing these down while you're driving.
No. Trying to drive.
I'm taking them down on my phone. No, again, clear, simple, and straightforward. Again, they need to be specific, concrete, doable and realistic, relatively easy to do. So you're using your example there where you said, was it taking a hot bath?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To me, that sounds pretty relatively easy to do. Probably in your case, though, if the kids are running around the whole house and banging on the door, now it doesn't become all that easy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So there's probably a strategy for you to do that, right? Maybe you have to do that when the kids are either sleeping, they're not at home, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Now, the last part about this, and this really is all helping guys, the psychology of what you'll be putting together. And that is, we'd rather use an approach-based goal or an approach type of language versus what, Derek? You're kind of a veteran here. What do we not language-wise want to utilize or use? Do you remember? It starts with the letter A.
Not really off the top of my head.
Avoidance.
Oh, yeah.
Base verbiage. Or avoidance goals. In other words, avoid goals, right? Obviously, there are things that people want to stop doing.
Like cutting out soda or something like that. And just stop.
Yeah. In other words, saying things like, I need to stop drinking soda. Telling ourselves to stop doing something almost guarantees, guys, we're going to keep doing it. Or we stay so overly focused on what we're not able to do, guess where our focus goes. So avoid goals or that type of avoidance language, guys, and I see it all the time. I see it on social media. I see how people write, and you can tell how they're thinking. They're thinking very much along the lines of avoidance, like, I need to stop doing this. Somebody help me. What that does is that takes up a tremendous amount of mental and emotional real estate and energy. You're stuck in deep mud. So an approach type of language, right, or using approach-based goals are things that we can start doing and doing more of, right? They pull us towards something more desirable. And actually, in a sense, they kind of quietly pull you away of things that, right, you're not trying to do, or those things you're trying to avoid. And they actually help you focus on feeling good. So think of like approach language, such as, right, Yuri, if you go again to the grocery store and you're looking to shop for fresh foods, an approach go to that, or maybe an approach sentence that you're thinking of even in your even in your head, or maybe you're saying that to maybe if there's a significant other or a family member that's shopping with you, is, hey, I'm looking to eat more colorful fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a pretty good approach. What do a lot of folks, guys, post on our Secrets to Fat Loss page or in our VIP page, usually every Sunday? What are a lot of our folks that are very diligently doing?
Prepping.
They're meal prepping. Exactly. They're preparing healthy foods in advance so they have them on hand. Isn't that kind of a sense taking on an approach goal? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, right, you can tell when people write out, hey, look what I did today. Oh my gosh, I got this all set Monday through Friday. You can tell that it's a very desirable outcome for them. They actually feel good of what they just did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know the one part here within our own office, in other words, this is very much an approach that our office administrator, Jamie, has been trying to work on, and that is she is trying to slow down eating. She is trying to enjoy the process of eating and eating her food. We actually, does anybody remember how much you should really aim minute-wise per meal? Knows how long it should take you to eat a meal?
20 minutes?
Yeah, 15 to 20 minutes.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's actually something that I've had to practice over here some time. I've always been one, just like my dad, I can pound a steak, broccoli with butter, and a sweet potato down. I mean, if you want me to, I can get it done in less than 5 minutes. I've always done that. Now that's growing up on a farm where that, right, you just got done with chores in the morning and you got to get back outside. Don't have a lot of time. So that's how I was grown up and raised. Now, there's some things, of course, right, that if we take our time eating, that does help satiety levels, it helps digestion type levels and things like that. So that's why that is so important. But right, that's an approach also too to making sure that you what? Do you enjoy your food if you eat it slow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we actually enjoy eating good foods. So that's why we want to slow ourselves down. Okay. So far, Yuri, Aaron, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Lindsay, Derek, still on track?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I had then sent you guys a bit earlier, and I'm going to try to hold it up here if you guys can see on the screen, and that is, this is one of the pages, guys, from that goal setting worksheet.
Mm-hmm.
This is the worksheet that, right, Derek, you've put together for the last now 5-some months that has allowed you to achieve 30-some% down to 16% body fat. Okay. So in other words, at the top, at that time was his overall outcome goal, right? He wanted to reduce body fat to an average 15% for males, which again, 10 to 20% is usually average body fat percentage for adult males. Somewhere in the middle, of course, Derek settled on 15%. So that's what he wrote at the top. And what you have at the top there is,
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay, you hear me okay? Let me unmute.
She's muted.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're unmuted. So, right, is that what you have still at the top?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Yuri, do you have this printout then?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. Aaron, I know is just getting home. So what Yuri, what Aaron, you guys are going to do, that this is kind of getting to the practice of this. And don't think this has to be your final designation here knows, I know myself, when I've utilized these sheets, I sometimes make
Yes.
quite a few rough drafts. This is just an opportunity for you guys to develop your first maybe rough draft. And Derek, obviously you're gonna have a new one at the top. Where that, guys, what again you have to settle on is what at the top? A meaningful outcome goal. Something that has an exact number or an exact outcome to it. And again, right, you could write, yes, I wanna feel better, but how do you know you're feeling better? If it's you want to lose 10 pounds, then that is exact, or that is an exact number. That's what you could use for this example today. Aaron, in your case, you had talked about reducing body fat percentage. What we then got to figure out is, right, get you in here for an in-body assessment and make sure that, okay, this is probably what, yes, she has to reduce her body fat percentage for to be in this, let's say, category. So that could be your example today. So I'll let you guys write that down. Derek, you're going to write increase your snatch ability by
15%.
15%. Okay, so you might as well just write that at the top then.
Yep.
All right, guys, once you got that then all wrote out, right now we usually go yes month to month. Why month to month? Because sometimes, yes, these skills that we're going to work on now, some of these action-based skills, they take some time to develop. This is not something you can just pick up in a day or two. So again, if that outcome goal at the top is I want to be able to increase my snatch by 15%, what would be then in this month here a skill, Derek, that you'd like to work on? And before Derek starts to think or answer that question, Yuri and Aaron, just to help you guys understand, what we're essentially looking to do with this month and this other month and these months of skills is that this should primarily be a skill or something that you've never worked on before. And that, Derek, is going to lead me into my question to you, where that, is there something within the world of weightlifting to better that snatch movement that you can do in this first month?
I was either thinking of kind of segmenting out the lift and we're focusing on parts that I really haven't done outside of class, or more shoulder mobility, because I did kind of like a mobility test recently and know that my shoulders are one of my weakest mobility points.
Let me ask you this. What is maybe one of the two most challenging parts of that snatch movement, whether it's a hang snatch or a snatch right from the floor? What
Probably
is
focusing on my high pull.
Okay, so you're saying the second pull, the extension of the pull?
Yep.
Okay. What else?
And also probably just the speed of my arms getting underneath it, because that's kind of related to all the lifts, is just kind of the speed getting my arms through it.
Okay, so you're talking differences between the second and third pull. Which one would you like to work on?
For building in order, I'd probably say the second one first.
Okay, so here's what you can think of, right? In that month one skill to develop, I mean, have you ever focused on like heavy second pull type lifting?
No, not at all.
Okay, I would put something like that in there then. In other words, develop a stronger second pull. And we'll get to the practice of that here in a second.
All right.
Okay, Lindsay, let's talk about you. Again, what month are you on here? Are you over now by that? The third one?
Yes.
Could you re-familiarize myself with your month one and month two skill?
Month one was to develop high protein meals. And so my first week I did prep proteins, and then my second week was water intake.
Yes.
And then month two was hit my calorie intakes daily. So my third practice was strategizing calories per meal size. So when I got down to the end of the day, I wasn't trying to put in a whole bunch of calories. And then develop a calorie shake if needed for the end of the day.
Yep, your supplementation. Okay. And that's been working. Those practices have been working for you?
Yes.
And you've developed those skills in both month one and month two?
Yes.
Okay. So I know that, right, yes, if you've been working within our nutrition program with Coach Taylor, any indication or anything that you can think of here in terms of month three, a new skill to work on that'll help you again with your overall outcome goal?
Sleep. I
Okay.
think that's where I'm having some issues now. I think that's kind of somewhere I need to think about too.
And why do you say sleep?
I don't think I sleep more than 3 hours a night.
Okay. That can be tough to function on 3 hours. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So instead of just saying in month 3, sleep. Here, I'll just do this, Lindsay. You can just listen to me. I'll meet you. Instead of just thinking that, like, right, you obviously know how to sleep. It's not like you have to develop a skill how to sleep. You're just looking to develop, probably is what I'm probably understanding, is a pattern of some type of sleep focus. For that, again, you can get more sleep per night. Okay. Let me unmute you here. Let me ask you this. Does your sleep quality differ? No, I'm not talking about 3 or 8 or whatever hours you get per night, but does your sleep quality differ from the weekdays versus the weekends?
My sleep quality is better on the days that I come to farmland. So that night after training is so much better. I go to sleep and I feel better the next morning.
Okay. So you probably, in that case, if you feel better in the morning, we probably know that, right? We're in a deeper sleep than for more long periods of time, is what really is occurring. Okay. Have you ever used? I know some folks have that, like Fitbit. I know there's other apps and applications that you can actually measure your sleep per night. You ever done that?
I do have the Apple Watch, and I know it is able to track my sleep.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
I've never looked at it other than I know it can do it.
Yeah, I actually think that would be a really valuable tool. And
Okay.
the reason being, if I remember right, with that particular one, I haven't looked into them all that much, but I know that with that particular tool there, it can, yes, measure your overall sleep, but it can measure your overall quality sleep, right? Meaning REM.
Okay.
Derek's shaking his head. Derek, do you use that?
I have a Fitbit, but my wife has the iWatch, and yeah, it tells you kind of like when you're in REM and deep sleep and light sleep. It kind of breaks it down for you.
Okay. So going back to you, Lindsay, then if you know that you feel better, because right after training, you're probably in a better, deeper sleep for longer periods of time.
Okay.
I think a good skill to develop then, and again, you can make this whatever you want, but if it was me, I guess, yes, I would like to know how many hours, right, I'm sleeping per night, but how many time-wise am I getting of deep sleep, like true deep sleep.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just mute you. We'll come back to you then. All right, Yuri. Have you decided on an outcome goal?
Outcome goal? Oh, yes.
At the top.
Yes, reduce body fat and lose 10 pounds. It's when I hear you guys, I think it's important to reduce my body fat to normal range.
Okay, say that again. I think there was 2 in there.
Yeah, 2. What? Oh, you want one goal?
We're going to focus on just one because, right, we want to be able to keep this very clear, concise, simple, and straightforward.
Yeah, then I would think the more meaningful one is to reduce body fat.
Good. I'm happy you said that. Right. In a sense, body weight doesn't tell us a lot. Mm-hmm. Body fat does, though. Inter and extracellular water weight do. Lean body mass tells us quite a bit. Yeah, those are numbers that are probably more pertinent to overall health markers. So again, you would like to do what? Body fat percentage?
25%. What is a normal range for women?
Oh, if I remember right, in most of the adult printouts on the InBody machine, oh boy, is it somewhere in that 18 to 28% range? I think that's what, if I remember right, that's what the normal printout on those is. It's somewhere in that 18 to 28%.
Mine is 33, I think. So I'll just make it a goal like 25 or something.
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
somewhere in the middle, just like Derek had done, a very respectable number. Okay, so I'm just going to put a slash here. Reduce body fat percentage to 25%. Okay, cool. We got ourselves an outcome goal. So then with that first month 1 skill to develop, any thoughts come to mind, Yuri, of, again, a new type of action or new skill that you'd like to work on to help with that overall?
I need to work on more of my water intake. maybe, and then maybe the nutrition wise, maybe supplements, vitamins. I did read something about like fish oil and things like that. I am not sure how. And uh,
How
so
about this? Let me ask you this. You just met with Taylor, right? Was it last week, you guys?
oh yeah, I missed that one. I forgot it was a webinar. I went to farmland instead.
Gotcha. Hey, training's a priority. I'm not going to fault you guys for getting in here and moving the barbell around.
No, I mean I thought the webinar was at the gym, so I went to there to for a class. So,
Oh, okay. So here's what I'm going to suggest. Yes, water intake is pretty darn important when you start getting the correct caloric consumption in. You got to have water. You do. You got to hit your water intake pretty much dead on just about every single day. You had talked about vitamins and things like that, which are micronutrients. What's actually more important than both water and vitamins and minerals, which again are kind of on the micronutrient level, is up here on the top, which is the macronutrient type thing, meaning your proteins, carbs, and fats.
mhm.
Even on top of that is making sure that you're eating enough food. I would say honestly, 80 to 90% of people that we start with here, when we start talking about food and all that, I mean, I just started with a gal here this last week privately. This is a very active lady. She's basically averaging around 900 calories a day.
Mm.
I told her that I bet you her BMR is probably around 1,200 calories a day. She's not even hitting her basic metabolic rate, meaning just to stand and blink your eyes and just function, that's at least the amount of calories that she needs each and every day. So what's been happening is that she's very quickly, readily putting on body fat percentage because she's under eating. So I say that to help start the process of losing body fat, we do need to make sure that we're eating enough calories. And Coach Taylor will be the one that can help you figure that out. Exactly. I would say here at the top of this all, the month one skill to develop is that you're going to have to get used to eating the calories that you're supposed to be hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would just write that down. In other words, caloric consumption.
Okay.
And then we'll get to your 2 practices here, which, what you're going to probably end up using for those 2 practices are going to be water consumption and macronutrient control.
Okay.
Those are really the first some steps in our nutrition program. You start getting that stuff down, you can, if you have that nailed down, you can literally go any which way. Hey, Corey, I want to gain weight and put on muscle. Cool. You can do that. Hey, Corey, I need to reduce weight by about 15 pounds. I have a competition coming up here in 12 weeks? Not a problem. If, again, you can start understanding how to make sure you can get your calorics in each and every day, or your calories in each and every day, and make sure, then your water consumption, all that is taking place. Be surprised how powerful process that is. Okay, so we'll come back to you here just relatively shortly. Aaron, have you decided on an outcome goal?
Yeah, reduce body fat. I just need to measure it first to see what I want to kind of be at, though.
Okay, so you want to reduce body fat, and again, I think somewhere in that 18 to 28% is yes for, again, adult ladies. That is kind of the range on a lot of those in-body printouts. So just
right.
just like you're kind of picked a number there, somewhere in the middle, right? Essentially, think really in the middle of 18 to 20%, right? That's about 23%. So I'm just kind of giving you an idea of maybe a number or so that you could have as an exact outcome number. But let's say your body fat percentage is 28%, Aaron, and you want to have an outcome goal. I want to be, Corey, I want to be somewhere right there, smack dab in the middle. Well, right then, you could write down your outcome goal as 23% body fat.
I actually would like it. Yeah, I would like it to be like 16.
Okay. I am going to circle that then. Reduce body fat percentage. 16%. I'm going to square that up. Okay, so we got a number. Good. Now, same question, actually kind of a similar format as to what we were just talking with Yuri. Where are you at with your calorie consumption each and every day?
Taylor just switched it, so I need to dial it in because I have more calories. So that's what I want my goal to be, is hitting the caloric consumption and then hitting my macros goals that are kind of adjusted.
Okay, so it sounds like you previously did have a calorie setting.
Yeah.
All right. And what was that, and what are you at now?
It was 1628, and now I'm at 1855.
Okay, good. So essentially just over 200 calories increase each and every day. Okay. How many hours of physical activity are you getting in per week? Like, right, if you do a class here, that essentially counts as 1 hour. Right, if you hang around and do the extra work, hey, I did the aerobic development work, Corey, it takes me about a half hour, and now there's 90 minutes. How many total hours of physical activity work are you getting per week? And this could, too, be things that you do on the weekend. Yeah, I go play racquetball or something like that with a friend for an hour. Like, count that, obviously.
Okay, so maybe 9.
Okay,
9 to 10.
that's hitting it out of the park. That's a lot. I say that because usually even some of my competitive athletes, I make sure they're in that 5 to 8 hours of physical work per week. And yeah, what I mean by like
Okay.
physical work is the act of doing something physical, like going for a walk around the park. That's walking. That's not all that physical, right? If
Right.
you had though a 30-pound or 50-pound ruck bag on your back and you were rucking around going pretty good, okay, that would I consider a physical activity. So yeah,
Right.
just kind of keep that in mind, what truly is a physical activity and what truly is more of a leisure activity or something of just recreation. Okay, so that means then you're getting quite a bit of physical activity, and that is good. Then yes, you have more calories. So then you also then have been working with your macro
Yes.
ratio. Has that changed, or is it about the same now?
My carbs went down and my fat went up. I need to kind of probably talk to Taylor about my goals because she just redid them and I'm not sure if I explained exactly what my end goal was.
So you're saying now what that's been adjusted is that your carbohydrates have went down, your fat has went up. Protein then has stayed
Right.
pretty much the same?
Real close, up just a tiny bit. No, it's the same. It's 30%.
Okay. Share with me then how many days you've been doing this.
She just switched it like, I think Monday. So this week.
This week. Okay, so you don't have a lot of time with it right now.
No.
Okay. So let me ask you this, and right now we're going to talk about that first month. In other words, if you're looking to reduce your body fat percentage down to 16%, and right, you're working with a new calorie setting, essentially, new macro content.
Yep.
Well, have you had to do this before? Have you had a switch in your caloric consumption and your macro ability in the past?
Yes.
What did you do back then to make sure that you could adhere to that?
I just kind of played around with different foods and putting it in my Fitness Pal. I log everything on there, so.
Okay. That was going to be another question. Do you log, or how do you log? What has successfully worked for you in the past to do that? To make sure that you can change your caloric consumption and go forth with that.
What has changed? What was your question?
What were maybe some skills or some actions that you had done in the past that allowed you to change that total caloric consumption each and every day and then be able to adhere to that? Did you have a different eating schedule? Did you eat more at night and less during the morning? How did that work for you? What was the success?
Honestly, it was quite a while ago. It was probably 3 years ago, so I don't know if I could tell you. I just know I ate a whole lot of turkey and I got sick of it.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, way back in the day when I was a competitive bodybuilder, and I think stock on tuna on the down market.
Yep.
I was eating so much tuna each and every week. Yeah, but I got sick of that. That is for sure. So I guess what I'm asking is just enough questions here that I'd like to kind of get your mind dialing in and spinning a little bit is to what different type of skill could you work on to help really, you got to get in 200 plus more calories per day. Now, granted, that's not all that much. You could probably take, if you're talking lower carbohydrate intake, where essentially you need a little bit more fat, the one food type that comes to my mind is like trail mix. Trail mix has a lot of good fats to it. There's actually a lot of calories to that and really not of a big carbohydrate value to that. And it's moderate in protein. Like that right there, if you had just simply an addition of some type of your own little custom trail mix, you'd probably be able to nail that extra 200 some calories a day just by doing that.
Okay.
eat it each and every day, my guess is you'll probably get sick of it after a while. But I'm just saying that, right? There could be a new skill here that you got to find a food stuff, or maybe again too that you just make your right. You normally train in the evening,
Yes.
okay? I was going to say if you normally train in the evening, you probably want your higher caloric meal to be right in the evening or after you train, not necessarily during the middle part of the day or before you train. Always have those bigger foodstuffs later on in the day.
Okay, so actually it's like 4 days is 5 p.m. and then 3 days is mornings. So would I eat a bigger meal prior or after on all of them?
From a timing standpoint, and right, some of you guys will probably learn farther down the road that you go with Taylor. Yeah, the timing of meals becomes important. I know that when I get into my competitive season, if I continue to do that, go for nationals here this year in powerlifting, I have to work with timing my meals and timing my simple carbohydrates and more of the fruit type carbohydrates at certain parts of the day. Meaning that if I, let's say, yes, train in the morning, I probably want more of those simple sugars and fruits and all that around my training time, like before and after.
Okay.
Or right, if I train later in the day, I'm going to still want those things, but yes, now later in the day, around that time.
Okay.
And the reason being, like, right, if you're going through the physicalness, your physical activity, whether it's early in the morning or late in the night, that is when your body is, in fact, I just educated again my staff this morning on this. Can you guys kind of see behind me here?
Mhm.
We talked about energy systems. We talked about energy systems and really where a lot of energy is coming from in our body. And that is, right, it comes from the blood. Secondary wise, it comes from the liver. Thirdly, then when we get, like, for example, into the oxidative system, like, right, if we've been exercising for some time, our body now is relying on our adipose tissue. Maybe you guys aren't able to see that. There we go. That adipose tissue or our fat tissue in our body as a energy source. What it is, I broke it down even farther for them. So I just say that where that, right, the sugars in that are immediately in our blood are coming from the food that we just ate. And like, right, if you have, like this morning, I had clementines before I came in. And usually, right, I get pretty active when I coach. I run. I don't know if you guys, I do all that stuff. I do. I feel like I'm very active in the few hours that I coach. So I make sure that I have some of those immediate sugars before I coach and also after I coach. And also too when I train, before I train and after I train. So like, right, I had my post WOD after I got done training, plus a banana. So post WOD is, right, usually 1 part carbohydrate to 1 part protein. Plus if I go a banana with that, now it's 2 parts carbohydrates to 1 part protein. And I'm trying to time those simple type of sugars around my activity time. And so, right, if you can do that as well, yeah, it might be easier, right, just to get in another extra 200 calories per day. Is just make sure the timing of your meals involves more of those carbohydrate sources and protein sources around, yes, your time of activity.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
That would
So a
actually
banana is what I normally do right before a workout. Is that good or not necessarily?
I would wait on that. Like if you're talking about, right, you need the ability to increase your fats a little bit, protein consistent, and lower your carbs, you're gonna have to be a little bit more selective on when you have carbohydrates. Now, let's say you're getting to the latter part of your training, you can probably start nibbling on your banana or pear or strawberries, whatever you got here. Then you'll actually probably notice a flush in energy at that time, like right before the Metcon tonight.
Okay.
I know there are some people too, versus eating food. Some people will maybe bring in a little thing of like apple juice, pear juice, orange juice is actually a good one. It's a very simple way to get some immediate sugars into your blood to help your output get higher. And right, if we know that we can perform better and our body's just churning and burning really well, the body gets very good at oxidizing fat. If it's sluggish, not operating all that well, it's probably low on blood sugars. Right, it's not going to be doing a very good job at oxidizing fat at that time. So yeah, I would wait on that fruit intake till after. And then maybe before training, right, what is a really good energy substance? Usually good fats are. Now, I'm not saying eat a half pound of bacon before you come in and train, but just make sure you do have some type of fat source or so sometime before you train.
Okay.
All right, what we usually look forward to using as a good energy source before you train, like black coffee. I totally love the product Disrupt from Driven Nutrition. I have definitely fallen in love with that product. I love the vasodilation pump it gives me. It does not give me a headache. And it's just got a very moderate amount of caffeine. Like, perfect. The pre-WOD stuff just fired up my head too much. Okay, so then going back to, I guess, and I know we got off track there a little bit, but that month one skill for you then, Aaron, to develop is going to be
hitting my macros and my caloric consumption.
let's pick
Right.
one.
Oh, I guess hit my macros, I guess.
You want to work with macros?
Yeah.
I
You
would
think
say
I should do the caloric?
yeah, use the overall one. Use calories.
Okay. Okay.
Because, right, if you can hit calories, you're most likely going to hit macros. And that's then what will lead us down into the first practice and the second practice. And this will be kind of a consistent for Yuri as well, where that Yuri was talking about making sure that she gets an adequate water intake. Yuri, that would be a practice that I would have and would like to see you probably work on in those first 2 weeks. Again, help your caloric consumption. You got to make sure, girl, that you're drinking enough water each and every day to help with the digestion of that food.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking water each and every day. Derek, Lindsay, share with me. Remember how much water you're supposed to be drinking each and every day?
Half
That
of your body weight.
Yep.
And
Plus,
then on the days that you train, 24 more ounces?
Per what?
per half
per
hour
hour.
of working out.
Mm-hmm. So again, right, you're looking to, if you weigh 200 pounds, you need then at base 100 ounces of water for that day. Excuse me. If you guys exercise for an hour, right, if you come in and do a class, which takes an hour,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to need to obviously increase that water intake. You're going to need to increase that water intake by 24 ounces each half hour of more physical activity. So, right, if you take an hour class, Corey now, right, was having 100 ounces of water. Now he needs 148 because I just went and did a 1 hour class. Sounds like a big jump, but it's actually not that much, right? Just think about probably the water that you drink during your workout and probably the water that you put together for your shake afterwards. You're getting pretty darn close to right there and then. Does that make sense, Yuri?
Mm-hmm.
Corey, do you usually count your water in your shake?
I like to. And the reason being is I probably make my shake more on the watery side.
Gotcha.
I don't ever
'Cause
make it.
Taylor wasn't having me do that originally, but
Yeah, like normally just a shake is only going to be about 6 to 8 ounces of water.
Mhm.
I actually fill my shaker bottle up all the way. I do make it very watery.
Gotcha.
That's my own personal preference. Yeah, if you're one that only uses, like, right, I know it calls for, hey, you put 2 scoops in, 6 to 8 ounces of water. Yeah, that's probably not all that significant. So you can pretty easily slam that thickness down. And what I even do is after I get my shake done, guys, I don't wash out my shaker bottle. I fill it up again. And like, right, obviously there's residue and all that in there still from that protein shake. Well, I'm going to drink that down one more time. Okay. So that then be your first practice, those first 2 weeks of that first month to work on.
Okay.
Yes, your water intake. The second practice then for you would be, right, getting those macros figured out. What percentage-wise do you have to hit each and every day? Going to you then, Aaron, what are some skills you'd like to work on? That again, if you're having to increase your caloric consumption by 200 some calories and you got to work on that first month, what are some practices that can help you do that the first 2 weeks?
What I've done in the past is plugging in different things in MyFitnessPal before I even do them to find out if I'll hit them, the goals, or I did that today to kind of see where I'd be at. So kind of just playing with that, and then I do my meal prep on Saturdays or Sundays of every week. So I guess just figuring that out to get enough calories.
You're going to have to adjust your probably meals a little bit when you do meal prepping. And then too, I actually kind of like that idea. You say you kind of plug things in ahead of time to see if it's going to work.
Yeah, and then you can just delete it off. So yeah.
Do you know if you could do that in a world of weightlifting? Do you know how powerful that would be? Hey, I want to see what 200 pounds on the barbell is going to look like before I do it. Yeah, that should work. I wish it worked that way. Okay, cool. Lindsay, let's go to you. You're in month 3.
Yeah.
What new skill, girl? are you going to work on?
I need to develop a better restful sleep. So I know that I sleep better on the days that I train, which is usually Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, definitely Saturdays, and sometimes Now That Fusion's on Sunday.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So on those other days that I'm not, maybe practice doing some type of at-home stretching or yoga or something so that I kind of more active, maybe, so that my body wants to sleep better.
Yeah, I think you've answered your 2 practices now already. That one, right, in this case, this is going to be your 5th practice here in month 3, right? What you want to do in these first 2 weeks of this 3rd month. You said you've never actually tracked before. I would get good at that, tracking.
Okay, track. Okay.
What your week is like, right? What every night is like. And then 2, what that week is going to look like in terms of this is the total hours of sleep I got this 1, 2, 4, 5, this 9th week and then this 10th week. Notice, track your sleep nightly and weekly. And then you can tell if there, yes, is a pattern. Are you truly getting more sleep on the days that you move? If so, then you can make that 6th practice that, okay, I need to have, yes, some type of physical activity done in those days so I can sleep better. Or if there's not a difference on that,
Okay.
then you know you can maybe do a different type of practice.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Derek. Increasing the snatch by 15%.
Yep.
Month 1 skill develop here is going to be then what? Working on that
Second
pulling
pull.
ability.
Yep.
Okay. So here, just to share with you, we're not going to do a ton of heavier deadlift percentage work in this mesocycle.
Okay.
Reason being is that we're, again, kind of in season. Most of the lifts that I have designated and all that, and our volume count's going to be no higher than like 75 to maybe 85%. And the reason being is that during the CrossFit in season, we don't and have never really experienced a whole lot of heavy lifts when it comes to the CrossFit Open. It's more output ability. So we spend more time with hypertrophy-based training. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but then it does allow you time to probably, yes, do some snatch accessory work, such as snatch pulls plus heavy eccentrics. And that would be something I would suggest to you. And it can be super simple. I mean, I can help you develop that sometime, or you can even go online. What is a 6-week template for snatch pulls or snatch grip deadlifts? All you're doing then is you're building up your ability to pick the weight off the floor and extend it.
Okay.
So that is something that I would definitely consider then, right, for that month 1 skill. And that, right, you're talking about the ability to increase your second pull. Well, then in that first practice, those first 2 weeks, I would probably concentrate on one aspect of the movement, meaning maybe it's the ability to pick on it up and shrug that top with 100, 105, 110, 115% lifts.
Okay.
And then again, you can then dive into the second practice as the ability to take that heavy weight and set it down correctly. And all you're doing by doing that with that snatch grip and that barbell is developing your backside strength.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's called overload-based training. And again, if you want to look it up on the online, there is a gazillion simple templates that work. And I say that because the nice thing is that, right, you're new to this. Really, any type of program with that, any type of accessory type programming that you do, Derek, is probably going to work.
Okay.
For me, right, I've been weightlifting since 1996, essentially, and I was competitive for how long? I have to be a little bit more specific with it. So I would have to do things a little bit differently than like you. So in your case, again, you're going to be able to do a lot of different accessory movements, bang, and they're probably going to work for you.
All right.
9 times out of 10. So the last part then is just making sure that you put these in whatever those movements are into practice, yes, on days that we are probably snatching. And what I would suggest is doing them as your accessory work after class.
Afterwards? Okay.
Yeah. And use them again as accessory lifts. Don't use them as main lifts.
Okay.
And those obviously would be new skills, new actions, new practices in which, yes, you'd be doing.
All right.
I was right. Your body just gets used to picking up heavy weight.
Sounds good.
Okay. So by show of thumbs up or thumbs down, do we feel like we have plans going forward?
Mm-hmm.
Yuri said yes. Aaron? Derek, yeah? Okay. What questions, guys, which is the last few minutes that we have, what questions can I help answer that you guys maybe have?
Is there anybody who had a successful at like counting their calories or like how much your intake you're taking? Because people talk about how much protein they should take and things like that, but I haven't really monitoring anything.
Okay.
I was just kind of based off of like from the nutritional guide, like kind of eyeballing, but I really don't count like exactly, okay, I need to hit 1,200 calories a day, and I just don't really count.
Yeah. Derek, would you mind sharing with Yuri one of your first steps to you becoming successful to reduce your body fat percentage?
Yeah, so I got an in-body scan, and then Taylor had my base metabolic, which gives you kind of roughly, like Corey was saying, minimum calories that you definitely need to eat a day so your body doesn't try to store something. So I just followed exactly the calorie count that she gave me in my macros pretty religiously for, throughout 2 mesocycles, and it changed once in between, and it worked quite well. But that's pretty much all I did was focus on my calories, macros, and water intake, and that's what got me to where I wanted to be.
And Yuri was asking, how did you monitor that, Derek?
It was through my Fitness Pal. So what Taylor did was give me just numbers, and I plugged it in. You can type in what your macros are and stuff that you want to hit.
Does that make sense, Yuri? A lot of us do use MyFitnessPal. It's a very simple tracker to use. You can keep it on your phone, your smartphone. I have mine too on my computer. Versus, I know some of us, there are some folks I work with remotely too. They are a pen and paper person still. I got one girl that does that. She writes everything down. You're welcome to utilize that too, but a lot of us use MyFitnessPal. Have you ever used that application before?
No. So, it was recommended and written there, but I think I'll just download today and check it out. Yeah.
I would do that. Start making your profile. Start getting things situated with that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you can friend Taylor, and she can look at your stuff too. I've had her do that.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, really then probably the next step for you, Yuri, to start figuring out your caloric consumption, all that is yes. I don't know if you scheduled an InBody here recently. Or do you remember the last time you had done one?
Yeah, it's about mid-October. So
okay, yeah, we should probably do another one here. In other words, do that. So yes, we can get your BMR, meaning your basal metabolic rate, what Yuri needs just to stand and live each and every day, and then we can help you go forth with probably calorize what you truly need.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, good question. Any other questions, guys?
Is there one meat that is better when working on, like, when you go to eat your proteins? Like, so one that's higher, that's better for when you're doing this kind of CrossFit, working out?
The thing about real food, proteins, let's say, right, meat sources, our body knows when it's getting protein. Hey, I just had a chicken breast. It's 20 grams of protein. That's what kind of like the body recognizes. Hey, you got 20 grams of protein. It doesn't necessarily, other than our tongue, our taste recognizes like, wow, that was a really good steak. Wow, that was a very bland chicken breast. I put nothing on it. That sucked. But our body just perceives it like 20 grams of protein and 20 grams of protein. It just knows it as that. So I say that because you don't necessarily want to get too reliant on just always having red meat each and every night.
Right.
I would actually get into the habit of kind of like mix and matching, right? Red meat, white meat, fish, kind of cycling through some different types of meat sources or real protein sources throughout the week.
Okay.
It doesn't get boring then. Yeah. I know we've always done that. I know we have direct access, right, to beef, pork, and real chickens and things like that. But we always, like right now, or last night, we did roast chickens. Tonight, I don't know what we're having, but we do. We purposely kind of cycle through different colors, not only of our vegetables and things like that, but also of our meat. Yeah, good question. All right, guys, here's what I'm going to finish up with. One, Derek, you need to give thanks to yourself, my man, for that last big goal, dude. Reducing body fat like that is one hell of an accomplishment, man. You need to take yourself out for a steak or something. In all
Sounds good.
right, guys, I know Kyle, had you guys watched that video that Kyle, I know it wasn't him actually in a video, but he talked about just smart, relentless pursuit of goals. Did you guys listen to that in the VIP page?
I don't think I saw that one.
Super good recording by him. Super good recording. Meaning, right, I know we kind of got a simple outline for a lot of you guys here, and I'm always happy to help if you guys got questions on this going forward, but right, we really put together a smart plan. Be relentless in your pursuit of this. Make very purposeful actions. Okay, if you're not getting enough water in the day, make a purposeful action to do that. Go buy yourself a bottle of water if you need to and keep it in your car. You know, take purposeful action for this. Lastly then, guys, do pay attention to the thieves. Not necessarily people out there, but there are things that guys that do. They distract the crap out of us. And if they're in your way, if you're going down your path and you want to get to the end of the path and there are things that in your way, get those things out of your way. If there's not enough meat in the refrigerator, Lindsay, get enough meat in the refrigerator. Stop messing around. Okay? So again, be purposeful, guys. Be relentless and pay attention. Sound good?
Yes.
Cool, guys. Thanks for attending. Go get your goals. We'd love to hear about them next month.
Sounds great. Thank you, Corey.
Awesome, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Corey. Have a good one.
You too.